Hello everybody, welcome inside to League on Lock. I hope you're nice and rested because it was a nutty weekend for competitive League of Legends. 3 finals in 3 of the major regions, a lot of world seeding and qualifications on the line, and now we've got a better look at all the teams that are going to Worlds. We're going to start off in North America where you had a pretty hyped up set between C9 and Liquid going into the finals. Obviously, Liquid, the defending champs, looking to go back-to-back, and C9 trying to reverse sweep the entire split after starting 2-7, coming all the way back to the finals to win for the first time since 2014, and it ended up being a very convincing 3-0 sweep for Liquid. Yet again, they sweep 3-0 in the finals, and how could they not when they start with the Jin Yu pose to start things off with the team introductions? It was only downhill from there for Cloud9 because they had no chance when Team Liquid is starting off that well. Pretty much across the board, everyone played super well for Liquid. They had a lot of criticism coming in that maybe they're not that confident. Cloud9 was actually kind of the favorites coming into this, even though they went to 5 against TSM. Liquid just completely turned it on and destroyed Cloud9. Ole was fantastic in that bottom lane on the Morgana, and the young POB, the notorious POB, had been ridiculed. He was the weak link on Team Liquid. He can only play Malzahar. Well, he plays the Irelia and dumpsters the Malzahar for Golden Glue. Cloud9 started with Jensen and Blabber. Then they subbed in Sven, Skaren, and Golden Glue in Game 2. That didn't work out either. Sneaky on the Twitch in back-to-back games. Just a whole lot of question marks around the drafting phase in pretty much all 3 games for Cloud9. So then going into Game 3, they say, okay, let's try and mix and match even more, so we'll keep Sven Skaren in and bring Jensen back into the lineup. But that didn't work out either. Xsmithy got Player of the Series. He was fantastic. His Gragas has been a menace for years now. Pobelter, I already said, overperformed. Doublelift, fresh off his MVP award. First time he's received those honors. He was in typical playoff Doublelift fashion, had 11 kills in a game, popping off on the Kai'Sa. Playing the Ashe, super aggressive on it, as you know he is on most ADs, completely destroys Sneaky here. He goes down to the feast, but they've already won that fight. Short games, not really any chance for Cloud9 in a lot of these. I mean, Game 1, the early game, was pretty good for them, I guess you could say, but other than that, it was all Team Liquid winning their 2nd straight NA LCS title. Ole so excited, he kicks his chair off the stage to celebrate, and that is Doublelift's 5th LCS title, tying him with Bjergsen for the most ever, but he's done it on 3 different teams, which is honestly a whole lot more impressive. And as you recall, many moons ago, before he won his first LCS title with CLG, there was a meme with the subreddit /r Doublelift's trophy case, and it was empty because he never won anything, even though people said he was one of the best NA players ever. Well, now he's got 5 LCS titles, an MVP, a whole bunch of all-pro recognition awards, and I don't think you can really argue that he's NA's greatest player over Bjergsen, even though Bjergsen has 4 MVPs. Doublelift should have more than 1, and I mean, 3 different teams he's won a title with, which is more than enough to put him, I think, ahead of Bjergsen in that category. Both guys have struggled internationally, so they cross each other off there. But congrats to Liquid for their 2nd straight LCS title, and their dominance over the last 2 splits is absolutely disgusting. When it comes to playoffs, regular season, doesn't matter. But here in spring and summer, they have been speed running through the NA LCS. In spring, they go 9-1 over a 2 kill-death ratio, which is ludicrous. 85% of the Barons they're getting in their playoff runs. And pretty much every category got even better. Heading into 2018, they got the bye, so they had to play less games. They still dropped the game, but 6-1 is still a pretty darn good record. The kill death got a little bit better. By the way, no one else in the playoffs this year had more than a 1.0 kill death ratio. Liquid more than doubling that, and a 0.7% better control of Baron. They have been absolutely dominant in these playoff runs. And I mean, different iterations, earlier iterations of TSM have been more dominant throughout an entire split, but I don't think you can argue that when it comes to playoff runs, this has been the most dominant 365 or annual stretch for any team in the history of the NA LCS, combined going 15-2 and pretty dominant wins across the board there. So Liquid, if you're an NA fan, you should be happy that these guys will be representing North America at the 2018 World Championship, and with their win, that means that 100 Thieves, who did not look great in the playoffs, will be going as the second seed for NA after finishing second in the spring split. They got enough championship points. Even though they lost the third place match to TSM, they will be going, and definitely not one of the top performing teams in NA right now, but for performing well throughout the entire year, they are going as that second seed, and the third seed is still up for grabs. That is in the Gauntlet in North America. That'll get going later this week. It's this weekend, pretty quick turnaround. 4 teams remain vying for that third seed in North America, and 2 teams, TSM and Cloud9, that have been to every single World Championship since their teams have existed. That's 7 for TSM, and Cloud9's been around since Season 3. They've gone to every World Championship since then, but one of them, and maybe even both of them, will not be going to the Season 8 World Championship. Gauntlet starts off with Echo Fox versus Clutch. That's right, Clutch could still go to Worlds. I would be shocked if they came up with a win against Echo Fox. Winner of that faces TSM, and the final boss is Cloud9, who you've got to expect can perform a lot better than they did in those finals. Pretty disappointing performance from them considering the hype and the level of play and how they turned around the season. That was not the Cloud9 we were accustomed to seeing in the playoffs and the second half of the regular season. Who knows if TSM can get back on track. They got a bit of momentum after beating 100 Thieves in that third place match. You got to think they'll be playing Echo Fox in that second round of the Gauntlet, because I think Echo Fox should beat Clutch, and TSM beat them in 5 in those quarterfinals, so they've got some momentum going with them. I'm expecting a TSM Cloud9 finals in the Gauntlet, which again means one of them will not be going to Worlds, but it's a long road still for that third seed, because they got to still go through the play-ins out of North America. And before we wrap up with NA, I want to just talk about Oracle Arena as a whole and the finals venue experience that we had, because it's called Roracle in the NBA because it's an absolutely electric atmosphere. Obviously, the Warriors are far and away the best team in the NBA, so fans usually have a lot to get hyped about. There were definitely more Cloud9 fans than Liquid fans at this finals event, and I don't know if that played part of it, but the atmosphere just wasn't there. In the team introductions, even during the games, I know when it's a 3-0 stomp, it's hard to get super excited as a fan. But overall, the atmosphere just was not there. It was almost comparable to 2018 Spring, which had a venue that had a fraction of the audience members there. But the electricity just wasn't quite there. I mean, you saw it in the third place match. There were hardly anyone even at the venue during that. So that's kind of what you were expecting, you know, third place match, not going to be as hyped. So I didn't overreact when that happened. But then the finals come, and it's still very lackluster. I mean, there were some still incredible plays that were made, and the fans just weren't as loud as you were expecting, or as what you've seen in previous iterations of these big event finals. In 2017 out in Boston, the fans were absolutely insane, and it just wasn't there in 2018, so hopefully Worlds is a little bit better, but I was disappointed overall by the atmosphere that was going through in Oracle Arena for 2018. But nonetheless, Liquid, they don't care. They're off to Worlds, back-to-back split champions.